Oh, how would I describe myself? I don't know. I've never, yeah. I mean, my profession right now is running and writing and taking pictures. But I don't really feel that describes me. I just feel like I'm trying my best to figure out who I am and what makes me happy. Travel is kind of a different term for adventure, I really believe. I have one small aspect of traveling figured out. I know how to make my story different from others. The one person that really inspired me to travel from the very beginning was my own mother. In the mid-1960s, she left home with a backpack and, you know, with the combination of risk and passion, and traveled, you know, with her thumb for the next 6 or 7 years, really. You know, growing up with the stories that she told me about hitchhiking across the country, you know, however many times she claims to have lost count at 17. She became really self-sufficient. Her backpack kept getting smaller and smaller, and you know, you realize how little in life you really need. It's a type of minimalism that you only appreciate when you're traveling. And then it's a type of minimalism that you can really understand as well when you're out running on the trails. You know, you take the simplest sport, all you need is a pair of shoes and you're off and running, and you know, the adventures are really endless at that point. Traveling and trail running for me kind of grew together. To me, they're very similar things. At 19, I dropped out of college for a couple of years and traveled down to South America, and that kind of started what I'd consider to be, you know, the current epic of my life, which is life on the road, more or less. When I was younger, it was easy to just leave home and have absolutely no destination and no real meaning to the trip. You know, when you've got a fresh pair of eyes, a young pair of eyes, then it's easy to travel the world and be, you know, awestruck at pretty much anything that you see. A person in my situation who doesn't have a whole lot of money and who spends it on his next trip the moment he gets it is constantly being warned or questioned, you know, what we're gonna do 10 years from now? Well, people were asking me that 10 years ago, and I'm still doing it. A few months traveling here and there every single year, exploring new places, meeting new people. I've seen so many places in my life in the past 10 years. And though I continue to want to see new places, I find that the trips that I go on need to take on a deeper meaning. Whether that be, traveling with a person, or having the destination mean a bit more to me, or the journey itself to needing to take on a more deeper significance. Going from Colorado to San Francisco, Colorado where I was born and raised, and San Francisco where I've called home for the past couple years. It's really quite cool. It's a journey that I've made a few times over the past 10, 15 years. Even before that, 20 years ago, I did a similar trip with my mom and my siblings, and it's a trip that never gets old. I think,
Go running again.
In America, we're very fortunate to have all of these open spaces to us, and but I think that these open spaces and this wild land can really exist anywhere for anybody if you're willing to go out and look for it. You know, when you're traveling, you're putting yourself at risk, and you're putting yourself at risk with, you know, being lonely or being cold or being hungry or being lost. And I think for all of those things, you have a lot to gain with them. And the same goes for running and for trail running. And I'm a firm believer that it's kind of through those adversities that we grow as people. So in that sense, they're the same thing to me. I've run, I don't know, at this point, maybe 8 or 9 ultramarathons, and I think I have about a 5 or 10% success rate with them. You know, every single time I do it, I've crashed so hard during the race. Immediately after the race, it's so painful. I can't figure out why other people do it. I can't figure out why I do it. And then a few days go by, and I don't know what it is. It's the desire to do something well, I guess. I think everybody has that to some extent, you know. It's something that I would hope we would all have anyway. It's a desire to do one thing very well. And the more you do it and the more you fail at it, the more you want to come back and succeed at it. That's really how we grow as people, is by doing things that we're uncomfortable doing.
Somebody get that man in the middle of light. That's painful.
You know, it's not all about going faster. It's not all about winning races or doing well in races. It's about, you know, what running means to me. At this point, I'm 32 years old. I've been running on the trails for over half of my life. And, you know, and so many of those miles are on the same trails, just around San Francisco or around my hometown of Aspen.
I see everything warming, close up, stick to the fire, change my name in the morning, lead out friends in my life, all this time a bit closer, find out who's in your clan, bite down the bit, it's not poison, don't
a certain point, you know, you've seen every single tree and every rock on that trail, but you can still kind of see it in a different light, and I don't think that'll ever really change. I don't think that'll ever stop for me. And that's really, you know, that's what trail running is. That's what travel is. That's what growing as a human being is. You know, because in the end, it's happiness that we're all striving for.
This is my story. Forgive me for trying to ride. The best part of my journey is trying not to smile.
For me, for right now, this time in my life, this is the path that I've chosen to take in order to maintain my happiness, really. Which isn't to say that it's easy all the time. I don't know, the journey keeps going, and I find myself still asking the same questions. What makes us happy as human beings? And I think that's the bottom line, really, is to figure out that answer. You know, what do we take away from travels, you know, 10, 20 years later? It's the stories that we have to tell, and I think, you know, at the end of our lives, that's all we've got. All you've got is your stories.